A few weeks ago, I took a deep dive into the weirdest Easter eggs in National League stadiums, and it was something else. Now, we're back. From cursed uniforms buried underground, to hot dogs raining down from heaven above, these are even more of the oddest, oldest, and most unknown secrets behind your favorite MLB stadiums. This video is brought to you by SeatGeek. Use the link in the description for 10% off your next tickets. Are the Yankees cursed? Everyone knows about the curse of the Bambino, which kept the Red Sox winless from 1918 until 2004. But what if I told you the Bronx Bombers might have a curse of their own? A week into the 2008 MLB season, the New York Post published a story with a wild claim. There was supposedly a Red Sox uniform buried underneath the new Yankee Stadium. The next day, a team of construction workers spent 5 hours digging for a shirt. At long last, though, they found what they were looking for: a filthy Boston jersey buried under 2 feet of cement in the service corridor near the Legends Club restaurant behind home plate.
We were very upset that it was in there when we found out about it, and a lot of the construction workers that work on this job were proud they have a lot of pride in what we do.
Working on this site, and for somebody to, try and tarnish it, I think really doesn't say anything about anything but his lack of character.
Gino Castagnoli admits he did it, but he says it was done in jest. A woman answering the door at his home supports Castagnoli's sense of humor.
Why did your father do this?
Because he's the greatest father alive.
The Yankees originally considered leaving the shirt where it was. But as everyone knows, denying a curse is the best way to get cursed. The team smartly opted to auction the jersey off for charity. Yankees part owner Hank Steinbrenner, however, made his anger known. Gino told Hank to meet him in the Yankee Stadium parking lot, and to bring Jorge Posada with him. Speaking of street fights, let's head on over to Boston. Fenway Park was built in 1912, at a time when baseball stadiums were made to fit the cities around them. This could result in some pretty weird shapes, uneven field dimensions, and this. The Green Monster might be the most famous wall in sports. Not that I can name many other famous walls off the top of my head, but I'm sure someone will correct me in the comments. Now, the Green Monster isn't a secret. You can't watch a Red Sox game without seeing it. What you might not know is that when Fenway Park opened its doors, the Green Monster didn't actually exist. Don't get me wrong, there was a wall, but for the first 4 decades of its life, the wall in Fenway's left field was simply called that, the wall. The wall was also plastered with advertisements for Budweiser, Coca-Cola, and Puroxia. My favorite. During sellouts, the wall would also be blocked by fans, who sat on temporary bleachers on a hill and left. Oh, there was also a hill on the field. In 1947, though, the ads were taken down, and the wall was painted its now famous shade of green. Even then, it took another 9 years for the Green Monster to be born. On November 8, 1956, the St. Albans Daily Messenger published an interview with Sox catcher Sammy White. It's in this article that the words Green Monster can first be found in reference to the wall in Fenway Park, and it's stuck ever since. You probably know about the hotel attached to Rogers Center, originally known as the Sky Dome, which is an objectively cooler name, by the way.
Take us in to the ball game. Take us in with the crowd. We may not win, but there's one sure bet. Though we get clobbered, we'll never get wet.
Rogers Center is the first and only MLB field that you can sleep at. Well, at least legally. The Toronto Marriott City Centre Hotel features 348 total rooms, 70 of which face the Blue Jays' home field. This means that, if you want, you can watch a Jays game in person and from the comfort of your own bed. But be warned, this also means that everyone on the field, well, they can watch you too. Anyway, this seems like a good time to talk about today's sponsor, SeatGeek. You probably know SeatGeek is the #1 rated ticketing app, and that you can find over 70,000 events listed there. Sports, concerts, and comedy shows, all in one place. And now, using our promo code SRS10, you can get 10% off your next tickets. That includes for teams like the Portland Pickles, who will be joining July 27th for an actual live baseball game. SeatGeek is also the official ticket marketplace of MLB, so tickets are immediately available for use after purchase, which is great if you happen to buy your tickets last minute, like I do. Like I said before, with the promo code SRS10, you get 10% off your next SeatGeek order. Or if you click the link in the description, the app will download with the discount automatically added. Thanks again to SeatGeek. Hot Dogs from Heaven is more than just a dream Homer Simpson would have.
What do you do, follow my husband around?
Lady, he's putting my kids through college.
That's thanks to the Mariners, who introduced the new tradition to Seattle last year. During home games, Mariners fans are treated to the one thing that can distract them from Cal Raleigh's Big Dumper. They watch as T-Mobile Park comes to a standstill. The crowd falls into a hush. Then, they appear. Hot dogs, gently descending upon the park, like a stork delivering a newborn baby.
Oh no! One of them got stuck on the netting. Quick, somebody give me a ladder and some mustard. I'll solve the problem.
As of this video, the M's are still in the hunt for the AL West title. If that changes though, and it probably will, let's be real, they'll always have the hot dogs. From Astros Field to Minute Maid Park to... Houston's home stadium has undergone several identity changes over the years. Today, it's known as Daikin Park, named for a Japanese air conditioner company. When it replaced the Astrodome in the year 2000, the stadium formerly known as Enron Field contained plenty of unique features. There were the Crawford boxes in left field, the giant model train right above it, and in center, there was Tal's Hill. Tal's Hill was a, well, hill, smack dab in front of the center field wall, complete with a flagpole in the field of play. Tal's Hill was a menace to outfielders, who had to chase fly balls up it, and back down. The weirdest part about Tal's Hill, though, is that it was put there on purpose. See, it was the idea of former Astros owner Tal Smith.
He's going for it! He's going for it! At the wall!
Tal was inspired by similar hills, like the one mentioned before in Boston, and the left field terrace in Cincinnati's Crosley Field. This was a deliberate design choice by a man who, we can only assume, hated center fielders. Opened in 1966, the Big A has been a rare source of consistency for a team that can't decide on if they want to rebuild, or if they want to compete, or what they want to be named. The Big A gets its name from the, Big A outside the stadium. Originally part of the scoreboard in left field, the halo atop the 200,000-pound sculpture used to light up after Angels wins. When they lost, however, the halo would remain dark. Since at least 2023, the Angels have chosen to leave the Big A lit up even after losses. In that time, the team has won 185 games while losing 238. Coincidence? I think not. As of the making of this video, Globe Life Field is the newest stadium in Major League Baseball. Or should I say the newest Major League Baseball stadium. Citing poor attendance at the old Globe Life Park, Globe Life Field is totally different. It has a roof. Other than looking like Godzilla's patio grill, this field does have a few fun design choices. The outfield wall features 6 distance markers, each for a different Rangers legend or moment. From left to right, there's 329 feet for Adrian Beltre, 372 for the Rangers' first season in Texas, 410 for Michael Young, 407 for Ivan Rodriguez, 374 for the Rangers' first winning season, and 326 for former catcher Johnny Oates. There's also a sign behind home marking the 42 feet from the plate to the backstop in honor of Jackie Robinson. The 2000s were a tough time for the Twins. There was the threat that they would move to North Carolina, then the threat of contraction in 2002. Then, when the state finally authorized a new ballpark, the land they had to build on was too small. It was a weird problem to have. How do you build a Major League Baseball stadium, which architects agreed required at least 12 acres of land, on a plot less than 2/3 that size? The answer was a feat of engineering that would make... who's a famous architect? Adam Driver's character from Megalopolis jealous.
So go back to the club.
Populous, the company tasked with building Target Field, designed the stadium in such a way to allow the northwest side to rise up, out, and over the next door highway and rail line. Comerica Park is backwards. Sorry, let me explain. Comerica Park is the home of the Tigers, and has been since 2000. It also faces south, the only field in the league to do so. Now, why is this weird? The answer requires a bit of history. See, in the early days of baseball, when the majority of games were played during the day, most ballparks were designed facing north. This meant that in the late afternoon, when most games were in their later innings, batters wouldn't have to stare directly into the setting sun. For pitchers, this was a bummer. It also meant that right-handed hurlers would stand with their pitching arm facing north, while lefties' arms faced south, hence the term southpaw. Since night games have become more common, MLB has been more chill about the whole north-facing thing. The White Sox are not fun to talk about. They were, for a while.
Berto is on the west side. You're on ESPN 1000. What's up, Berto?
What's going on, guys? Listen, I've been a diehard Chicago White Sox fan for nearly 40 years. And my call is rooted in heartbreak, not anger. I mean, Stoney is more worried about Lance Lynn eating a salad than the entire organization not knowing how to teach Major League prospects how to hit a baseball.
Eventually, though, you can only take so much losing before it just gets sad. But let's talk about their field. Rate Field. That's right, Rate Field. They dropped the guarantee this year. Originally opened as the new Comiskey Park. It replaced the old Comiskey Park, which sat right next door.
I'll be there.
I'll be there.
I'll be there. I'll be there. This is a cool logo.
I'll be there.
I'll be there.
We'll be there.
I'll be there.
The team was sure to keep parts of the old park intact, like the famous exploding scoreboard. And then there was the dirt. The entire infield, all 550 tons of dirt, was taken from the old Comiskey and brought to the new one. Now, has this dirt brought the White Sox good luck? Let's check the numbers. The Royals Stadium was built in the cookie-cutter era, when multi-purpose stadiums were all the rage. In the 70s and 80s, it was like every new field came from the same template: big, round, and ugly, like a giant hockey puck. Kauffman Stadium, however, was able to avoid this fate. The only pure baseball stadium open during this time, the K is a jewel of a ballpark. It features classic architecture straight out of the 70s, but in a good way. And then, there's the scoreboard in center, oriented vertically, since the Royals correctly predicted that fans in 2025 would want to watch Subway Surfers in the background of games. Camden Yards is consistently ranked among the best stadiums in MLB, and having been there exactly once, yeah, it's pretty great. One thing I didn't know about the Orioles Park, though, is its connection to one George Herman Ruth, Sr. You probably know that Babe Ruth was a Red Sox before he was a Yankee. You might also know that he was a member of the minor league Baltimore Orioles before that. What you might not know, like I didn't, is that the Babe grew up on a baseball field. Literally. When Babe was a young teen, his father owned and operated his own saloon on what is today the spot of the Orioles' center field. From 1906 to 1912, this was how the Ruths made their money, living in an apartment above the bar. Now, you might think a bar would be a bad place to raise a kid. And you'd be right.
What the hell is that?
It's a baby we found in the trash.
Well, put it back. It doesn't belong to you.
We're not gonna put it back.
Well, give it to the cops. Get it out of here. It's bad for business.
Babe didn't really spend much time here, having been sent off to reform school for most of his youth. Tropicana Field had a roof. Then they didn't. The city was gonna fix the roof. Then they weren't. Then they were again? Ray Chapman might be the most tragic player in MLB history. Ray was one of Cleveland's most popular players during the 1910s. He was a terrific small ball hitter. To this day, he still owns the all-time record for sacrifice hits in a single season. The fans called him Chappie. That all changed on August 16th, 1920, when Ray was hit in the head by a pitch. As he was helped off the field, Ray tried to tell the pitcher not to worry. He was going to be all right. At 4:40 a.m. the next morning, Ray Chapman died. The team dedicated a plaque to their former shortstop, It was hung at their home in League Park for years, before they moved to Cleveland Municipal Stadium in 1946. There it stayed, honoring Chapman and his all-too-soon passing. That is, until sometime in the 1970s, when it was mysteriously removed. Nobody knows who made this decision. Nobody knows who did the deed. But for over 30 years, nobody knew where the missing Ray Chapman plaque was. In 2006, 86 years after his death, and over 3 decades since his plaque disappeared, Chapman was inducted into the Team Hall of Fame. Within a year of this ceremony, in the corner of a storage room, in the belly of Jacobs Field, a box was found. Inside of it was a plaque. It was definitely old, oxidized by age, and covered in so much dust that the text couldn't be made out. But the face was unmistakable. They had found Ray Chapman. Today, you can find Chapman in Heritage Park, located beyond the center field fence.